It's all about so-called illusions, and you have to be laser focused in one narrow pathway here. In this card, one of the assignments, you have to overcome all your negative beliefs. You are like that turtle sitting under the shell. It's like our brain. Your pathway, even if it is swirling, it's still guided by your intuition. Your higher self has consciousness. It guides you along the way throughout all the duality of this creation. Do you see there is actually the face there representing your higher self? There is some consciousness there. What if I be open for something crazy good to happen in my life? That was the question which kept me going. Be open for pursuit of your inner guidance. So today we will be talking about the card the Moon. What a powerful card. This card is all about that duality and searching for the solution in our shadow work. It's all about so-called illusions, illusory world, searching for the sun at the same time. Let's have a look at it. Let's have a look at it closer. So how can we find it? We can find it through following the intuition. Otherwise, we can be deceived very easily. There is only one narrow pathway here. Look at this. And you have to be laser focused. It is one of those cards when you have to be laser focused, because each and every wrong step may bring you to duality of this creation. So you have to master that laser focused approach into this life, being led by your intuition. So it is also very important to understand that this card has that affinity, the zodiac affinity to the moon, to the collective consciousness. You start feeling how you are being like taken here and there, parts of you, by the collective consciousness. You start feeling and understanding it more, sensing it. It becomes more apparent for you. Although it is quite often unseen, you still start sensing all those underground waters. In this card, one of the assignments, you have to overcome all your negative beliefs, all the illusions about yourself, which are represented by this shield from represented here. You see the shield, right? And it's very, very powerful symbol because it has all those swirlings and spirals here. Because guess what? If you, let's say, you are like that turtle sitting under the shell, it's like our brain. It has certain boxes in it, certain beliefs. And you will see that on the card, that shield is in the beginning of the pathway of the turtle shield, right? So your beliefs, you believe into something, it's swirling you, it's contracting you inside. And every belief here, if it's not unwound, if it's not dealt with, it does not allow you to see the situation correctly because you are inside that circle. You cannot invite new, good, beautiful, truthful, and fresh to come into your mind. That's exactly what this represents. Okay? So you must actually work it out. Lots of shadow work is in here, which has to be done so that your pathway, even if it is swirly, do you see the swirly pathway? It's still guided by your intuition. It is still guided by your connectedness to your higher self, and your higher self has consciousness. It guides you along the way throughout all the duality of this creation. Now, when I flew from Siberia to Moscow, I remember I had no idea what will I do there. I had one-way ticket and I had lots of misbeliefs about like how the world is even wound, and I came from a disruptive family. However, I had to work it out within me and just trust myself, trust my guts, that I have to get out from the place where I was raised and step into that new fresh reality where I can still do things according to my higher self guidance, because I opened myself that way. I remember I was sitting in the airplane traveling from Novosibirsk, it's the city in Siberia where I am from originally, to Moscow, and I remember I had that like butterflies were flying in my guards and I didn't know, it's only my one-way ticket. What will I do? What will I do in my life? But I had that enormous trust that everything will settle, everything will be well, and that's the place where I stepped into my journey where nothing was really clear, but I was led by my higher self? Do you see there is actually the face there representing your higher self? There is some consciousness there. You want to get connected to it. You want to unwind yourself from all the previous beliefs and allow that fresh new thoughts, fresh new possibilities to come into your life. I love these questions which start from what if, blah, blah, blah. What if I start this new journey in my life? What will happen? So one of the questions which really helped me along the way, I remember not to get back to my past, not to get back to Siberia. Whereas like, well, worst case, what can happen to me? I can come back to Siberia and just live with my parents again, and that's all. And start everything from scratch there. That's the worst case. So what if I try my new life now in Moscow, I said to me. What can I lose? In fact, it was saying to me, you can lose time of your life, you're a woman, there were misbeliefs, you have to get married, there needs to be children, you know, just all this nonsense. And all these beliefs which were instilled into me by my family. And you have to find a job, you have to live like all the people are living, you want too much in life. And I'm just like, what if I just set myself here for the next 3 years and do my absolute best, whatever I can, and see what happens? Worst thing, I will lose 3 years of my life. Oh, so what? I was that young, that fresh at that moment. I was in my 20s, early 20s at that period. And I remember how I just realized that nothing actually horrible will happen. Worst case, I will just have to come back home and just live with my parents. But what if I take that chance and do my absolute best, being led by my God's feeling, connection to my inner self, to that higher power of all creation, which is much bigger than me? What if I be open for something crazy good to happen in my life? That's how I wired it. And it's just 3 years of my life. I risk actually nothing, just 3 years. So that was the thing, that was the question which kept me going. Even in the moments when I was overworking like crazy. I remember I was working in Deloitte. I found that job there and I was working as an audit assistant there. And those of you who are into that world, like that Big Four world, like there are 4 big audit companies, huge corporations, and they usually hire, they are known for that practice, they hire students for very low salary, but they propose you immense amounts of level of education into the audit and accounting and taxation world, and then you become an expert with them, but you have to pay the price of your continuous overworking, going through the hell, and they pay you very small amount of salary. So I said yes to that opportunity, and I was working like 12 hours per day, even more. I remember I was crying like hell. My physicality started breaking down, and I remember I went at 12 a.m. No, actually it was much more later than 12 a.m. and the metro, the underground in Moscow, was about to close. And I remember I was crying and going like, oh my god, the underground will close and I will not be able to get back home. Where will I sleep today? And I don't know the way out of this nasty crazy circle. Where did I bring myself to? There was like this blah 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 all the time in my head. It was really reminding me that crazy scene, you know, just like the shadows around me. It was a deep night already. Imagine, like it was after 12 a.m. But I remember myself walking to that underground station, like it was around like 15 minutes walk, and it was deep night, and I just like was crying and crying and crying. That was the god, the moon, right, which was leading me, and I was already about to give up, but I don't know what will happen with me. And inside me was that disgusting feeling of coming back home. And then out of the blue, I heard a voice. The guy approached me, and I was just like, oh, the guy approaches me in the middle of the night. What does he want from me? And you know, he said, please don't cry, girl, everything will be well. And he passed away. And I was just like, oh, what is this? Even right now when I'm telling you this story, I have this shivering inside me. Until now I remember that. Please don't cry, girl, everything will be well. Now I know that was kind of the universe was talking to me. Please don't cry, girl, everything will be well. That was so powerful, that one voice from some random guy after 12 a.m. on my pathway to the underground from my work, it just allowed me to keep moving forward, and I'm so appreciative for all what he said. So be open for pursuit of your inner guidance. That's the message from me for you today.